Hi, welcome back to a very special episode of Comic Book Weekly. Now, I'm sorry that Lois couldn't make it in today, but we found a special guest to take her place. So, would you like to introduce yourself, Lois?
I'm Lois.
What?
Since when? I thought you were Handsome Bob.
Didn't we meet at the comic book shop?
No. I don't even know these guys. Thought we hired you.
Well,
$5 an hour.
not only that, but today we're going to talk to you about comic books versus trade paperbacks and which ones you should collect and time on and why. Now, I'm going to introduce you all to the comic that I've been selected to read this week, which is Carbon Grey. Now, I didn't know anything about the series when I jumped into this issue, but at the start it gave me a nice little read to help me understand some of the characters and what I was jumping into. It was still tough to understand, but I took my time reading it and I read it over, and it was great. It was a fantastic read. I really enjoyed it. The characters in the book are just fantastic. They're so in-depth. They define them so well. Each character has their own ideals, and it's just a great comic book. I'm going to give this story a 9.5 kapows.
Ooh, that's pretty up there.
Yeah. Now, the art, on the other hand, was just extraordinary. This is the best art that I've ever seen. I'm not saying this in a way to make any art look bad, but this is just fantastic. It's so beautiful. The characters are all drawn so well, and as I was saying, they're defined so well,
Really
and their
Rob
art
Liefeld?
really
Really
not Rob Liefeld. It's beautiful. I love it. It's gorgeous. It brings it right out to me. Each character has their own beauty to them, and because of that, I'm giving my very first 10 kapows.
Kapow!
Whoa! Selling it already.
Wow, that's two.
Yeah, I know.
Two people.
But I really enjoyed this comic. I am now going out of my way to grab some of the issues that I haven't read, and give it a try.
Did you
Carbon
grab
Grey.
issues, or did you grab them straight paperback chance?
Well, that's what we'll talk about later. So I'll pass you on to here to Malcolm.
Woohoo! I'm Malcolm now. Okay, so everyone, today I'm reviewing God is Dead issue 4. There's actually two writers for this. That's Jonathan Hickman. We've actually said his name a couple of times on Comic Book Weekly. A few times.
Like a weekly
We've
day.
said Jonathan Hickman's name more than I've said Gritty.
I don't
know. That's debatable. That's debatable.
No, that's not debatable.
I just want to join this Jonathan Hickman, so we've all said it now.
Okay. And the other writer is Mike Costa. The artist is Di Amorum, and so the reason why I chose this comic this week is because it's a pretty interesting comic. It's not your typical type of comic. It's not like superhero versus supervillain. It's actually about gods. It's not like God is dead. It's more of a Machiavellian joke about God is dead, but he's not. And what the idea is, the gods have now come back to Earth and they want to take over and get worshipped again. So people have become kind of secondary, where they're not really important. It's the gods that are important. So these people are now praising gods, but then there's these people who, didn't believe in gods in the first place, or just choose not to abide by them. So they kind of create their own coalition, and that's what the story follows. The reason why this comic is interesting because God is Dead actually parallels kind of our world in general and how it used to be, and showing all these, religions or, gods kind of going to war with each other.
Still kind of like that, though.
Yeah. But it's good because you see these religions fighting each other for supremacy to see which is the better religion kind of deal. But what makes it really cool and gives it that comic book aspect that puts the comic in the book is the gods are actually fighting each other. And this is really cool, seeing the gods fighting each other and have them duke it out. You'll find some really cool stuff in there. There's also some really cool spoilers that you find about this coalition that's kind of going against the gods. I don't want to reveal anything, but you should definitely check it out. It's very interesting.
Dick Grayson's Nightwing? What?
Yes, he is. So,
Wait,
today...
spoiler.
Okay, that was not me.
Everybody.
That was
you.
not me. That was
I don't know
you.
what you're talking about.
So for the writing today, I'm gonna give it 8.5. I loved it. I suggest everyone they should pick it up. Really cool new take on comics. I definitely suggest it. For the art, I'll give 7.5. I thought the art was really interesting, and his take on the Diamorum's take on the gods was really neat. It's neat how he draws them and how he portrays them. It's nothing extraordinary, but it's very cool. I suggest you all pick it up. So I'm gonna now pass you here to Lois.
Hey guys, this week I've got Legends of Red Sonja #2. I've already reviewed the regular Red Sonja series that they relaunched earlier this year, and because of that series I decided to pick this up because I'm getting to the Red Sonja universe kind of late, so I figured why not catch up on some of her older stories. So, like the regular series, Gail Simone is writing the general outline story of what's going on here, Legends, but she's also getting help from other writers. In this issue, it's Mel Jean Brooke and Tamora Pierce, who both write, who are both very good writers, in my opinion, after reading this. The creative team behind this is doing an excellent job telling this story, and the artists working on this title are also fantastic. I really like this stuff. One of my favorite parts of the whole comic book actually are the price on the cover is $3.99, which is a bit of a throwback to older comic books that would have been 50 cents or 75 cents as opposed to $3.99, or they'd have the dollar sign instead. I like it. It's neat.
Classic feel.
It's a really great place to jump on to the Red Sonja title because you do get to see some of her backstory. It lets you know where she's coming from as a character. It introduces you to her in a very excellent, with some excellent stories. It's very good because she's a strong, sexy badass that even though she's been around for a while, she is a breath of fresh air as far as heroines go in the comic book world, I think. Anyway, I absolutely love this. So I give the story in this 9.5 to the two writers doing it were really good. Really good. The first story is my favorite by far. If it was just the first one, I probably would have given it a 10 or maybe a 9.89. Kapows. It's excellent. The story throws you a curveball. You feel like it's going one way, but it keeps you off balance. You don't know exactly where it's headed. It's excellent. The second story is very good too. The art, like I said, is really good stuff. I like it a lot. The cover is definitely some old school artwork here. We'll get to our editing crew. Will give you a really good shot of it. So I give the art 8.5 kapows. I really like it. She's drawn really well in this. So is the setting. All the places they visit in this book are drawn very well, very cool. So I love this book, and if you want to get into Red Sonja, I suggest starting with Legends of Red Sonja. So I will kick it over to the great oak tree himself.
Thank you, guys. Anyway, this week I am doing Inhumanity, which is number 1 by Bad Faction. If you're picking any comic this week, pick this one up, just because it's going to be an ongoing.
Why, your comic's better than ours?
Damn straight it's better than ours!
Bad Faction.
Better what? Damn straight, it's better than ours.
Girl it's better than yours. Anyway,
I don't know.
Great series,
I had your
especially
milkshake,
if you like explosion. Kicks
Who
it
doesn't
off
like
at the beginning
explosions?
with some big kabams and recapping what happened with Infinity, which was awesome. I don't know about you guys, but you guys should be reading Infinity because it was amazing by Jonathan Hickman. In total, though, great book. It starts off with Karnak, who is this unknown inhuman for a lot of people, who ends up telling a story about the beginning of Terragenesis and the beginning of the people of the Inhumans, and their origin story in a bit that leads into the modern events with what's happened with Infinity and what's happening with Inhumanity. In total, great way of describing Karnak. Like, I didn't even know this guy that much, and I wish he had a monthly series now based on the way that Matt Fraction wrote him. And between him and Hawkeye, they made the whole comic book worth it, just because seeing Hawkeye in this was beautiful. I know Matt Fraction writes Hawkeye the series, which I'm going to be reviewing later with back issue of the week. But in total, like, those two made this whole comic worth reading.
I'm not big on the Inhumans. Like, it might be because
like,
I don't know much about it. Is there
didn't-
like a general story that gives you like?
Yes, I had no clue about the Inhumans other than what I'd read from Jonathan Hickman's run of FF and that, and basic little things here and there. They explain the Inhumans and they make Karnak look like a badass.
Nice.
Karnak shows his little bits, gets his bit done with.
Whoa.
Shows his little bit.
What?
Oh, every single way of the way I say that is shown in this.
Okay, sounds
But in total,
awesome.
Karnak does an amazing
He's a
job.
perv.
Shows what's happening over the Infinity and bit on the sidelines so you don't get to see like Medusa at the point of Attilan being exploded in Terra Justice Bomb. Sorry about the spoiler if you haven't read it already.
Dick Grayson is Nightwing?
God damn it! 2 times in an episode? But yeah, in total, great issue. I recommend you picking it up. It will give you a great story and it will lead you into the rest of Inhumanity. Giving it easily 8.5
Kapow!
rating by Matt Fraction, which I love. And the art, 7.5! Just because the way that they draw people's expressions in that and the way that they show the characters' like slightest movements mean so much. Now on to our second segment now, guys, which I'm even more excited about, is single issues versus trade paperbacks. Why do they each have their benefits and what you should be doing in here? Why? I say in total though, some things are meant to be picked up in trades, some are meant back in like single issues. Like I pick my number ones always up in single issues. Like currently, I'm debating about Revival, which is a series that I picked up the first 2 trades, and I was talking to one of the people at the comic shop today actually about the third one, and they announced it, but they didn't say what issues it covered. So I've been trying to figure out what I want to collect in like single issues. So I don't know what point I'm gonna have with the 3 trade paperbacks to what point it'll get to.
Yeah.
It's gonna be roughly issue 16 or 17 or so. So I'm gonna just start picking up issue 16, 17 and that. But in general, like trades are pretty good for getting a start on a series to know if you're what you're gonna want. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
at the same time though, like, if you already understand a character and you missed a series, then absolutely go back in the trade paperback. But I think if someone's like, oh, I think you'll like this person, and you've never read anything about them, I'd say go and try and find a number 1 first and read that. Because
But
if
number
you
ones are
don't
pretty
like
hard
it,
to find.
if you don't like it though, and you paid 16, 17, maybe like
Depending.
you get some of the hardcovers, they're 25, 30 bucks.
You don't need to buy a
Then
hardcover.
you don't like it. Now you spent 25 bucks on a book you don't like that much. You know,
But, like-
instead of the 3 or 4 bucks.
Like, what's about though? With, for example, I bought Nowhere Men, Volume 1, and what happened with that was, I was told it was the first 5 issues. I picked that up, and then picked up issue 6. Went into the comic book shop the week later, I was like, yo, you're wrong, it wasn't 1 through 5, it was 1 through 6. So I picked up issue 6 for no reason. Instantly, the person that I was dealing with was like, bring that back in, we will refund you the whole price and everything that you need just because I told you this, it didn't happen, oh well. But guess what? Great cover and great series, I'm still going to keep issue 6.
Now, as Einstein said in The Manhattan Project, why not both?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a good argument there.
That's a simple argument there, right?
Well, some of us just don't have the money.
I know.
Especially when we love comic books, we can't afford that. But talking about money and affording comic books is, I have a great point for you here, is a good place to start on any comic always is the first issue. It's always hard to get a first issue, alright, I understand that, but when you get one, it's nice, you have a good starting point, and most first issues
Like a voice in the dark?
appreciate in value. It's
Like
actually
a voice in the dark, right?
unlike the voice in the dark. There's what? Most comic books are usually great, especially when you get the first issue. And so these first issues actually appreciate in price and they go up in price. Good examples when DC released the New 52 and all these first
All of
issues
them are fucking
came out.
Right.
You get like Action Comics, Batman, Green Lantern. They all
Detective.
Detective, they've all went up in price. They're at least $20 now for the first issue of that.
So now they've got the dollar issues of actually almost all the ones you've just said.
Yes,
Which is also,
Wait,
see,
what?
that's the thing.
but it's not the same
They're all-
thing.
It depends on what you're
Green
doing,
Lantern,
really.
Batman, the Wonder
Did we
Woman.
release them?
Yeah, it's
They-
as essentials as $1 essentials.
Like, if you're willing to put
I
money...
knew Image was doing that. I didn't know DC
Yeah.
was.
And they have
Everybody's doing it right now.
Goes to-
IDW is doing it as well. One of the things, like, I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of depends. If you're willing to pour money into your collection, single issues is the way to go because your collection is going to be worth money. If you're on a budget, trade paperbacks are the way to go.
Oh.
Because
Oh.
I buy all my trade paperbacks online from Chapters Indigo, and I always make sure to spend over $25 every order because it's
Free shipping and handling.
Plus, I'm a Plum Rewards member, so I get 10% off. And then every so often they do other promotions. You get $15 off here or there. You gain points every time you buy stuff, so eventually you're getting $5, $10, $15 off. So if you want to get a lot of books for a small price,
Nice.
trade paperbacks is
Are
absolutely the place to go. Plus, you can get a lot of special edition
Discounts
stuff in
and that.
there. Like you get extra stuff, a lot of creative, like process stuff. can
They'll
come in
usually
there.
put like the alternative
Covers
covers
and
in the
stuff.
back,
Yeah.
which is really neat because alternative covers, like if you buy
You want to
comic
know what
books,
you're collecting.
yeah, and not only that, but they cost a lot. Like you get an alternative cover, it's gonna cost you like 10, 15, 20 bucks.
Yeah,
for it.
I got one last week where I got the regular cover and I got the special cover, which was $10. It's like I spent $15 on one comic book, and you know, like I get 2 copies. I had to because the cover was amazing, but yeah, it happens.
I think Brittany labeled it the best in the way of single is really good for collecting, but trades are awesome because you can take a volume 1 and be like, Malcolm, read this. You need to read this for crying out loud. And Malcolm will read it because it's all there. First 5 issues, and once he's there, he's hooked.
Yeah.
It's like crack. It sells
Absolutely.
itself.
It's great to share with your friends, I think.
Yeah.
For me, there's comic books that, like, you guys know, I'm huge into TMNT right now. I absolutely love that series. And I like that monthly wait. I like going in and being like, oh, where's it going this month? But then there's other comic books that I like that I would rather buy in trade paperback version. Like, when I catch up on Walking Dead, I'm gonna wait till the trade paperback comes out. I'm not gonna put it on my pull list. And
Compendium. That's when I wait.
well, yeah.
Get the whole like
I
48
like the little
issues.
ones though, because I mean, if you get to a story arc that you're like, it's kind of going down. Like, not that I've run into that with Walking Dead yet, but you get into a story arc that starts to take a nosedive, and you can jump out more easily. And I mean, they're cheaper. You can catch up. There's a lot of stuff that's hard to find, like back issues that are just hard to find.
Well, if
And
you look
so
at
you
anything
get the
Golden Age,
graphic
you have to pick things up. Like, that's the great thing. Like, DC's released Nightfall, and it's like, I think it's a 6-part series? No, it must be like a 5-part. It can't be 6-part. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's, like, first volume gets you Nightfall 1, Batman Nightfall Part 1, and all these different little issues that you can read. Because things like, I want to know what Tim Drake's doing, but I can't figure this out. So I pick up this huge pack here, and it tells me everything's going. And you just pick up all 5, and you have the whole story.
Yeah,
it's
that's
great.
what makes it really easy. Is let's say you're getting late into a comic book and it's already at its like 100th issue. You don't want to have to pick up
100
issues.
Because even
When
if
you
you go
pick up like
You'll
all
be
these 7
missing out.
trade paperbacks.
Yeah.
And not only
No, you'll at least be picking up 10.
Yeah. Not only that, but what makes trade paperbacks unique as well is they have titles that only go to trade paperbacks.
Yeah.
Like Superman Earth 1 and
But
Batman.
those aren't necessarily trades, those are hardcovers.
Yeah, but I'm saying in the general it's still
yeah,
graphic novel.
the collected editions.
But
really.
still,
which you still grab anyways.
Yeah, but some series on the hand only come out in series.
Yeah.
Like, what's a good example? There was one
Well,
of them.
you won't get too many like
Nowadays,
couple.
nowadays,
You won't get
No,
like
you
low
won't
level
get
DC.
You won't get like this 2-part series here into
It
a
is.
trade.
It
Into a
is.
trade with only 2 issues.
They
Yeah.
might tack it on to something though.
They
They
add
have to
stuff
tack
onto
it on
No,
to
there's
it in the 2 or
there's
3
an
of
art
the
book
series.
in one, and then the rest have 3 comics.
The
in each.
lowest like compilation I've seen is 4
I'm
issues.
telling you, I did reading up on it. They said there's trade paperbacks for all of them. They just give
No,
an
no.
art book in the origin one. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
wow.
like I have a Punisher one from Punisher Max where it's like it was only like a 4-issue arc, but then they tacked on 2 one-shots as well because they weren't going to be collected in anything
Well,
else.
yeah, if you look at, I was debating about getting into Guardians of the Galaxy, but the whole first one simply is just hardcover's been released so far, and it's only issue 1, the point 5, 2, and 3, and I'm like, they're at 8 right now. I'm expecting to want to collect it for issue 11 when Venom joins, and I'm like, so I get this
He's joining Guardians of the
Yes,
Galaxy.
Venom is joining Guardians of the Galaxy.
And it's already one of the best series out there. But,
Michael Bendis!
yeah, Brian Michael Bendis. But I want to bring up the most obvious point about this argument is the reason why most of us collect comic books is because, like most, we're not ones for suspense. I don't want to wait 6 months for the next trade paperback. I'm gonna get the comic right now.
That 1 month wait is long enough.
It's brutal. I couldn't even imagine waiting 6 months for then.
I can barely wait.
Necessarily, like, look at, East to West. East to West 1 got announced when they were in issue 3, and it only took 2 months for them to make it all up into a compilation. So you're only waiting, technically, if you've been collecting the issues, you're waiting an extra 2 months.
Well, yeah, a lot of
only for the
companies
whole
are doing
thing
that
for
now.
5
Where
issues.
they as soon as the new arc
What
starts,
was-
they start publishing.
You know what
they
was
start
funny,
getting
though?
it into publishing, but they don't
East
release
of
it.
West Volume 1 came out the week that East of West 6 came out, so you could pick the volume up, then pick up issue 6 because you knew you were addicted to it.
Yeah, the first part of TMNT City Fall came out the same week that the second part of City Fall started. So you get the trade paperback.
Which
in
is
your
nice
volume.
because if you missed it for some reason, you can pick it up and be like, I'm good with City Fall Part 2.
Yeah.
So I would actually like to end it here. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. Remember, please like us on Facebook. Check out our Twitter page, Tumblr, all everything we have.
We're tweeting and tumbling and
every
twerking and
little bit.
poking.
We try to do everything, but remember,
You don't want us to
pick up.
Remember
Remember to pick up your weekly comics.